Page 229, various laws. Chapter 24. If a man takes a wife and lies with her, and if she finds no favor in his eyes because he has found some evidence of open prostitution in her, they let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it to her and send her out of his house. 2. And when she has left his house, and if she goes and becomes another man's wife. 3. And if that husband hates her. Page 230, various laws. And writes her a bill of divorcement and gives it to her and sends her out of his house. Or if that husband who took her to be his wife dies, 4. Then the former husband who sent her away has no right to take her again to be his wife after she has been defiled.
Enjoy the summer
For that is an abomination before the Lord. And you shall not cause the land to sin, which the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance. When a man takes a new wife, he shall not go out with the army, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at his home for 1 year, and shall rejoice with his wife with whom he has taken. 6. No man shall take the nether or the upper millstone as a pledge, for he takes a man's life to pledge. 7. If a man of the children of Israel is found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Israel to make merchandise of him or sell him, then that thief shall surely die, and you shall put evil away from among you. 8. Take heed in the plague of leprosy, and be exceedingly careful, and do according to all that the priests and the Levites shall teach you, as I commanded you, so you shall be careful to do. 9. Remember what the Lord your God did to Miriam on the way after you came forth out of Egypt. 10. If your neighbor owes you a debt, you shall not go into his house to fetch his pledge. 11. But you shall wait in the street, and the man who is your debtor shall bring out the pledge to you. 12. And if the man is poor, you shall not sleep with his mantle. 1. In the east, clothing and other garments were taken as a pledge, especially in places where poverty prevails and money is scarce. But you shall return to him his mantle again when the sun goes down, that he may sleep in his own mantle and bless you, and it shall be righteousness to you before the Lord your God. 14. You shall not cheat the wages of a hired laborer who is poor and needy, whether he is of your brethren or of the strangers who are in your cities. 15. But you shall pay him his wages on the same day. Neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor, and it is because of his wages that he places himself at your disposal, lest he cry against you to the Lord, and it be sin against you. 16. The fathers shall not be put to death for their children, neither shall the children be put to death for their fathers, but every man shall be put to death for his own sin. 17. You shall not pervert the justice due to the stranger, nor to the orphan, nor to the widow's take a widow's garment as a pledge. 18. But you shall remember that you were bondmen in Egypt, and the Lord your God delivered you from there. Therefore I command you to do this thing. 19. When you reap the harvest in your field, and have forgotten a sheaf in the field, you shall not return to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, for the widow, that the Lord your God may bless you in all the works of your hands. 20. When you beat your olive trees, you shall not go over the boughs again. It shall be for the stranger, for the orphan, and for the widow. 21. When you gather the grapes of your vineyard, you shall not glean it afterwards. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. 22. And you shall remember that you were bondmen in Egypt. Therefore I command you to do this thing. Chapter 25. If there is a lawsuit between a man and his neighbor, they shall come before the judges, and the judges shall judge them, and they shall acquit the innocent and condemn the guilty too. And it shall be, if the guilty man deserves punishment, the judge shall cause him to lie down and have him flogged in his presence, according to his offense, with a certain number of stripes. 231. Various stripes. 3. 40 stripes he may give him, but not more, lest if he should exceed and scourge him above this number of stripes, then your brother would be hurt severely in your eyes. 4. You shall not muzzle an ox when it treads out the grain. 5. When brothers dwell together and one of them dies and has no son, the wife of the dead shall not marry to a stranger, but a husband's brother shall take her, and she shall become his wife, and he shall perform the duty of a brother-in-law to her. 6. And it shall be that the firstborn which she bears shall be named after the name of his brother who is dead, that his name may not be forgotten in Israel. 7. And if the man refuses to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate of the elders and say, my brother-in-law refuses to raise up to his brother a name in Israel, and is unwilling to take me as his wife. 8. Then the elders of the city shall call him and speak to him, and if he should rise up and say, I will not take her. 9. Then his sister-in-law shall come to him. Then his sister-in-law shall come to him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe from off his foot, and spit in his face, and say, so shall be done to the man who will not raise up a family to his brother. 10. And his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him that has his shoe loosed. 11. When two brothers are fighting, and the wife of one draws near to deliver her husband out of the hands of his adversary, and puts forth a hand, and seizes him by his private parts. 12. Then you shall cut off her hand, and your eye shall not pity her. 13. You shall not have in your bag different weights, a large and a small. You shall not have in your house different measures, a large and a small. 15. But you shall have a perfect and just weight, and a perfect and just measure you shall have, that your days may be prolonged in the land which the Lord your God gives you. 16. For all who do such things, and all who act wickedly, are an abomination before the Lord your God. 17. Remember that all that Amalek did to you by the way when you came forth out of Egypt. 18. How he met you with his sword and smote all of those who were left behind you, when you were faint and weary and feared not the Lord your God. 19. Therefore when the Lord your God has given you rest from all your enemies round about in the land which the Lord your God gives you as an inheritance, you shall blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. You shall not forget it. Chapter 26. And when you come into the land which the Lord your God gives you as an inheritance, and possess it, and dwell in it, 2. Then you shall take some of the first of all the fruit of the land which you shall bring in from the land which the Lord your God gives you, and shall put it in a basket, and you shall arise and go to the place where the Lord your God chooses to place his name. 3. And you shall go to the priest, and who shall be in those days, and say to him, I profess this day to the Lord your God that I have come into the land which the Lord swore to our fathers to give us. 4. And the priest shall take the basket from your hand and set it down before the Lord your God. 5. And you shall speak and say before the Lord your God, my father was led to Aram, and he went down into Egypt and sojourned there for a short time, and there he became a nation, great and mighty and populous. 6. And the Egyptians mistreated us and afflicted us and laid upon us hard work. 7. And we cried to the Lord. (232) Promises of blessing. The Lord God of our fathers, the Lord heard our voice and saw our affliction, our labor and our oppression. 8. And the Lord brought us forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand and an with an outstretched arm, and with a great revelation, and with signs, and with wonders. 9. And we came to this place. The Lord has given us this land, of a land flowing with milk and honey. 10. And now behold, I have brought the first fruits of the land, which thou, the Lord, hast given me. The Lord hast given me, and you shall set it down before the Lord your God, and worship there before the Lord your God. 11. And you shall rejoice in every good thing which the Lord your God has given to you and to your house, and to you, and the Levite and the sojourner that is among you. 12. And when you have finished tithing all the tithes of your produce in the 3rd year, which is the year of tithing, then you shall give to the Levite, the sojourner, and the fatherless, and the widow, that they may eat within your towns and be filled. 13. Then you shall say before the Lord your God, I have brought all the hallowed things out of my house, and also given them to the Levites, to the sojourner, to the fatherless, and to the widow, according to all thy commandments which thou hast commanded me. I have not transgressed thy commandments, neither have I forgotten them. 14. I have not eaten of them in my mornings, neither have I touched them while I was unclean, nor used any of them for funerals. 1. In the east, the nearest relatives of the dead after the burial feed the mourners and the poor. But I have hearkened to the voice of the Lord my God, and have done according to all that thou hast commanded me. 15. Look down from thy holy habitation from heaven, and bless thy people Israel, and the land which thou hast given us, as thou didst swear to our fathers, the land that flows with milk and honey. 16. This day the Lord your God has commanded you to do these statutes and judgments, and you shall therefore keep and do them with all your heart and with all your soul. 17. You have confessed the Lord this day to be your God, and promised to walk in his ways, and to keep his statutes and his judgments and his commandments, and to hearken to his voice. 18. And the Lord has promised you again this day to be his beloved people, as he had promised you, that you shall keep and do all his commandments. 19. And he shall exalt you above all nations which he has made, in praise, in name, and in honor, and that you may be a holy people to the Lord your God, as he has spoken.